Today I am attempting to fix my heavy sixer. I have a ton of Atari systems, and my heavy sixer has decided it doesn't want to work anymore. So I've went through what I'm relatively sure are all of the capacitors. With this, this is an automatic, supposed to be high-tech automatic, and you see it looks like a phone. Like I could carry this around and people would think it was some kind of smartphone. This is a multimeter, and I've got these switched. I just do that because it doesn't matter, but I'll go ahead and switch them over to be right here. For those people who go, oh, that's wrong. Ground, and then lead. Now, I wouldn't recommend getting one of these, because you don't have any control, really, over what mode it's in, and it decides what mode it's in, and then when it decides what mode it's in, it's often wrong. So I'm actually going to be buying a cheap, crappy one, so that I can actually use the multimeter, because this one kind of bites a little bit, honestly. Now, I've tested, and I'll just go ahead and I'll just do this just for fun, for reference here. And there, oh, let's see. Okay, 24.82 kiloohms, and I think it's a 22. So we're looking at, it's close. It's close enough. It shows that that one's working. Right? And I've done that on all of these. I've went ahead and went through all of these. I don't know if can you see this or not, but I'm going to move this over here. Okay, set this down, and we'll test this. It's another 22, and now see, DCV. Did you hear it click? What it just did was went into direct current voltage mode on its own. I didn't push a button. I didn't say go into direct current voltage mode. It's doing it again. I don't want it to do that. I want it to read AC resistance. So what the hell is wrong with this thing? Now, I've successfully tested all these. I've got another one. This is what I used to use, and it is a cheap one, but so cheap, the probes just fell apart on it, and I can't rebuild the probes. So I bought this one thinking, hey, if the automatic things don't work right, then I'll just use the probes on my old one. But the probes won't fit in these holes, so I'm going to have to either get new probes, get a whole new multimeter altogether with different and/or better probes. But anyway, I have tested everything, and to the best of my limited knowledge, all of these capacitors, resistors are all registering the numbers they're supposed to. So what it must be there for are some of these chips. Okay, and we've got the Riot chip, the CPU, and the TIA chip. And the TIA is sound and video. Okay. So one thing I can do is take this other working system with the same chipset. This is a Vader 4-switcher, and take the TIA out of it and just swap it, and then test the system. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, you might think taking all of the chips out and just having them laying around and swap them around here and there and everywhere, and you can do that. There's really nothing wrong with that. But me, I don't know exactly the perfect orientation or the writings on all of them. I don't have it memorized. And so what I would end up doing is either putting them in backwards or mixing them up and screwing things up. So I'm going one at a time. Easy does it. I'm going to put the one I'm questioning out of my way here. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove the one that I know actually works. And and I'm positive it works. Okay, and I'm positive it doesn't want to come out of that socket. I don't have a puller. I have one. I have a yellow puller somewhere, but wouldn't it be, I hid it from myself. So I don't exactly know where it is. Okay, so I'm going to get that out of there. Okay, I got what I know to be a working chip out of the Vader. Now the Vader is actually a modded system, but it recently started having a little effect where it likes to flash the color blue into 2 different shades. And I've heard that's usually a certain capacitor on the board. So what I really need to do is go online and buy like about 5 of those recap kits that are for that are for the Atari 2600 different variants. Now there's a recap kit that's for the heavy sixers, and then there's a recap kit that's for the later single board systems. Now the heavy sixer and the light sixer are generally made with 2 boards. This one over here, which is the main one with a heavy metal FCC shielding, which later it was found that the FCC scary kind of shielding was not really necessary, that we weren't really bombarding ourselves with deadly signals, and so they didn't really need as much. And so later systems still had shielding, but they didn't have these giant blocks of aluminum or metal or whatever that are found in the older systems. And just be ready to replace capacitors here and there and everywhere. And honestly, like I just said, I would totally not recommend an automatic multimeter because they are not easy to use. They're not accurate. They're like, oh, you want me to go ahead and shoot that with electricity right now? Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. When that's probably not what you want it to do. Now they do have devices that will bend all of your pins perfectly straight. I don't have one of those. So what I'm doing is pressing it against a flat surface lightly to try to line the pins up so that I can get them in here. But either way, they're not wanting to go in, of course, because that would make my life easier. Okay. Alright. We got teeth. Now I'm going to check both sides. There we go. Okay, so now this is a fresh TIA CPU Riot. Now this system, when it was working, not too awful long ago, had legit gorgeous color. And there's a difference in the color on heavy sixers versus the later systems. There's just kind of the color is better defined. I've got a Rainbow Junior up here that I use to basically to keep the TV on, that I test this stuff on, because the TV turns itself off, you know, after a very short period of time. Which is extremely annoying. And just makes it hard to do anything with it. So I keep the power supply in that, the joystick plugged in, I keep a test cartridge there, so it's all ready. Now when you test this out, you want something to put under the main board. So I'll just use this cartridge. This is an empty cartridge. I was using it to test my new game. And then you just kind of drop that in there. And the cartridge is under that middle part, and then connect your often broken little band here. This guy likes to break and go bad. Now on the later ones, this is rainbow colored and it's individual wires, and you know, that's probably better. It's nicer. I recommend having replacements for this part too, because they like to poop out. They just get bent they degrade and stop working. Okay, this is my power supply, and I'm testing it. And I don't think I'm getting anything. Huh. That's odd because it was working before. I was getting a screen. Probably should have tested my Rainbow Junior before. That I'm not getting a picture at all after switching to the other TIA is concerning, because it means it could be the TIA. I'm not 100% sure. I just realized I was in a great big hurry, and not only did I not put a cartridge in it, but I didn't plug in the RF cable. So there's their RF adapter here in the front. This is actually within the system on these older ones, and then later they made it external. And okay, now it's turning on, but it appears that the game is still not working. Okay, so it's doing the same thing it did before. I'll go ahead and I'll try a cartridge, just a regular cartridge game. I've got Solaris. And yeah, I'm just getting a blank screen. It's a black screen. So, what that means is it's not the TIA chip, because that would work. So that's the first phase of testing this out. And like I said, I've tested all these, but that thing's really finicky and weird. The automatic one. So it also could be dirty contacts down in the cartridge port, because I thought as this first started messing up, I think I got it to work by putting the cartridge in and out a whole bunch, and then eventually one of the games worked. Like Pitfall or Pitfall 2 actually worked after some finagling. Wait. It's showing some, I don't know. I did brush out the connection with some alcohol, but I haven't gone down in there and actually scrape the connection or tried to, get a new surface on it or whatever. That feels slightly loose too. There might actually be a bad solder connection under that connector. Okay. So just to give an idea of what this is looking like, on blank screen. Okay, this is my TV, and you can see the little blue edge here. That's showing, hey, I'm pushing a picture, but there's nothing coming through the picture. And I know not both of those TIAs are bad. So I'll turn it off, and you'll see the fuzz and the protection little blue screen. Okay, and I'm going to hold this here, and then now I'm going to flip the switch, and well, now it's not doing anything. So yeah, this guy's still got problems. I thought maybe the TIA would fix it. So yeah, next up, I guess I'll try other chips. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and try the CPU. As you can see, there's a little bump right there on the die. There's a bump on the end of the chip, so you can see exactly where it's supposed to go. Okay. And this is now honestly, I don't think if the CPU was working, I would get that blank picture the way I am. So I don't know. This is kind of just pulling at straws, I guess, to coin the term. I don't really know if I'd be getting that screen were the CPU not working. So probably a good chance that this is not going to change anything. Plugged in, got the, all right. Oh, no cart. And it worked. It worked. So, what that means is the CPU is bad. And there's some artifacting going on. I don't know why. It was a super, super clear picture. Let's see. Okay, but we'll go ahead and dismount the camera. And we can see there's Solaris and there's Solaris. Now that picture looking that way is bad. It's terrible. So, but I'm pretty sure this means that the CPU has gone bad in my Heavy Sixer. And the graphic problems, it could be that the TIA was also going bad, so I'll go ahead and switch back to the original TIA that's in the Heavy Sixer. I don't think those artifacts that are on the screen, those are not from RF. Those are not your typical like RF artifacts that where it's just a little bit of fuzzy. That's like something wrong, artifacting. But we have gotten one step closer. The artifacting can also be from a capacitor problem. And so chances are it's going to need recapped anyway. But this is one step in the right direction of assessing the problems. And as much as I thought, oh, it probably couldn't be the CPU, it ended up that it was the CPU. And so this is a different 6507 that came out of the Vader. And so the next step will be to see if we can get rid of the artifacting. What I want to do is go ahead and put the old TIA back in it and see if that eliminates the artifacting, which it might, but I'm thinking more likely this is a capacitor problem. Somewhere on there is a cap that's going bad or it's already gone bad, and so the artifacting is from that. So we've got our beautiful, and this one has the AMI printing on it. The ones in the Heavy Sixer often have this tactile print that looks cool. The others are just printed. So whoop-de-doo, no big whoop. And I'm just going to very gently ease that up and ease it up on the other one. I probably should be using something with a rubber handle. Okay, that's over there with the possibly bad CPU. And I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back in here. Just line it up. Oh, it doesn't want to line up, that's for sure. Oh, there we go. Yeah, these sockets are a bee with an itch. They're just tiny, tiny, tiny little holes. You know, they make sockets that are like wide and have the pieces that connect significantly easier to slide the pins down into them. So there we go. I just nudged that edge of it. Okay, so now the old TIA is back in it. Now people use static wrist straps and stuff, and honestly this piece of plexiglass here, I would not recommend doing any work on a piece of plexiglass because they are staticky. This is not a good place to do this work. This is just a place for the lighting. Later I'll probably get a mat and set it down when I do this type of work, because these can have static. But when you're dealing with these devices, if you don't have a wrist thing, which I don't have one anymore, touch something to ground yourself. So I'm touching this to ground myself. I'm making sure that the device is off. And now power. I'm taking the RF. It's plugged in. It's another reason you don't want to use this plexiglass, is it's really slippery. Just a mess. Okay, so power, RF, game, and yeah, still have artifacting. It's still doing the same levels of artifacting with the other TIA chip in there. The TIA is graphics and sound. So, good chance it's this guy here, possibly, coming out from the RF signal. Okay. It's actually worse, I think. Yeah, I think the artifacting is slightly worse with this one, but I don't think it's the chip. I actually think what we're looking at is capacitance, problems with capacitance. Oh, it's perfect now. It just totally cleaned up 100% perfectly. So there's something loose right here. There's something loose here. So I'll go in there and reflow the solder on the RF point, and I'm going to reflow and reground the RF signal box. And I'll show you what I'm seeing on the television. Okay, move out here, and that is a perfect, super clean, heavy sixer display. And I mean, look at it. That is what you want to see. I think it's a little blue looking through this camera, but what I'm looking at is really, really gorgeous color. It's perfect too. The color balance is perfect. There's no bleed. There's no over contrast. You get the mildest separation, red on this side, blue on this side, but when you fine tune the screen, there's pretty much no way to avoid that. And but yeah, wow, does that look really, really, really good. Phew, I've resurrected a heavy sixer, but at a cost. Because I determined it is not a capacitor, but it is actually the CPU, to work on this guy down here, the Vader 4 switcher, I'm going to have to get a new CPU. And so looking up a 6507, I don't know how much they are, if they're rare, if they have crappy aftermarket ones that do the job, or what that's going to be like. And this one with its, as you can see, it's been modded. It has some issues with the mod now. Like I said, the color's starting to do freaky stuff. Maybe the TIA will work better now. I don't know, but that's for a different time. Now I can reassemble, after reflowing the solder, I can reassemble my heavy sixer and can test games on it again. Okay, so just for fun, I've let it run for about an hour now with my newest game, Yeet Fighter, which was on zero-page Homebrew. You can see I've got the beta in there, and I've got a Sega pad here, and I just beat the game. And let's see, I think I'm going to play it a little tiny bit, but I'm also going to show some of my other games. Just the color. It's the color. The color on this system is truer. It's just significantly truer than the later systems. Like I'm programming this, and the color, when you're programming it, you're going for a certain look, And I'm trying to get something to set this camera on because it's not, that way I can actually play. But, okay, I'm going to have to try this out. Okay, we'll let the title screen run here. And of course, like I just said, I noticed that the color really seems to be truer on the Heavy Sixer than on the later ones. When I program the game and I'm looking at the colors in the emulators, and there seems to be a more clearly defined level of color. And I'd like to show some other projects I'm working on, just for fun. Oh, she's gonna get me. It's the first time I've used this aftermarket 6-button pad. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I love it. I love how more clearly defined the colors are. Oh, he got me. He took me down. The one-player game is very difficult. The game is much funner, I think, versus, almost like a lot of the original Atari games, especially Combat. Like, Combat has no one-player mode. Combat is a game where you have to have 2 people to even play it. Like Tank Pong and stuff like that. Tank Pong was really smart, in my opinion. So there we go, that's running. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my multi-cart in the system, and I'm going to show a couple of other games that I have that I'm working on. Okay, so now so there's a little bit of artifacting, a little rolling there. That's common. Put these. See if I can't break my controller. Okay, now this is a card that I use for a flashback, but I keep my work down the bottom of it here. So we'll try Ghost or Bust, and immediately the colors are brighter. Like I can see the buildings more clearly. I guess that could be the TV. Okay. Oh, there's like a pinkish hue, like a tint to the car that I don't think is in the other. And there's a more of a greenish appearance on the Ghost, which I like. It's good. You can see the outline better. And then okay, a little more color permeation with the backdrop. So because the backdrop is blue, I can see just a hint where it would be flesh tone on the other characters. Let's see here. Go ahead and turn this on. And maybe it's this one. Oh, now this is where the 7800 actually is hooked up. So it might be that I can't show this on both. Let's see. 3. Yeah, I don't think I can. I was using the plug-in in the back, which I had the 7800 is going directly into the top television. So I can't really try. I can't really try it on both screens, and I might see a noticeable difference. Let's see here. Backing this up, can get it to stop with that screen. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I'll try a different one. I'll try a different game. We'll see. Okay. All right. I noticed there's a ever tiniest bit of looseness, like I said, on that RFN. Let's see, I've done a, okay, we'll try Space Navy. There we go. Wow, that looks great. Looks really clean. There we go. There's the ship. Now, on a newer version of this, I changed how much blue and red was on the middle part there. So it's a little less. See if this will help correct it. I really love that. I mean, that's using the PF Heights. And there's a distinction. There's a clearer distinction between what is a sprite graphic and the background graphics. And there's, I don't know, it's more color diversity, like with the 2600. Or with the heavy sixer, I mean. After the heavy sixer, the colors are not as clearly defined, and so you can have some people, I guess, maybe like that better. But I don't know, I really like that. Now the hair I like because it looks a little more brown. I think it looks kind of reddish on the other systems. And now I actually realized that the enemy ship looks blue, and actually is supposed to be green. So that might be something where, I don't know, maybe I need to dial something in. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Now this beach game was actually the prototype for for what ended up being Cute Beach. And there's Yeet Fighter. Before I finished it, pretty much it's the same. There were just some minor changes I needed to make, and I'd still like to fine tune. Even though the game is done, I want to change one of the songs. And so let's see. Cute Beach. There's a volleyball game that I'm working on. It looks okay, but it still needs some changes. Now, this is a rear perspective. Originally, I did a side view perspective, but I like how the net looks on this one a little bit better than what the side perspective looked like. And the characters don't move. So in the original prototype, you could make the characters run and move around. It was a side-by-side perspective, and I might go ahead and go back to that perspective so that you can clearly see both of the characters. Okay. Here we go. Oh yeah, super clean and clear. I don't know how that's looking, but from here this looks really clean and clear. Yeah, and it's not as shimmery or flickery. Yeah, it's not nearly as flickery as on other systems. I can see the center of the barrel more clearly in this. It looks more like the way that I painted it in the emulator. So yeah, I like that a lot. Oh. All right. And I still haven't programmed the next level for this one. And it looks, I can tell there's some like, whatever, that banding kind of effect from the frequency that's affecting the camera. But that one, and I like how his mouth is red, almost like, you know, you can see his tongue. He looks like a darker blue color, more like a what do they call him, a razorback or something like that. Gorilla. The color looks better. So I guess my point here is that in doing all this is, of course I want to test on the Heavy Sixer in case someone's playing that older, more archaic system, but also to show that the color looks better. Like the color just looks better on a Heavy Sixer. Now I don't know if it was like a cost thing, like maybe they were cheaping out and they wanted to throw a cheaper chip at you or something, but I don't know. I think it looks great. Let's see. Here's Homebrew games. I've got folders of Homebrew games just to try out, like Star Trek Vector. Let's try that. It's one of my favorite Atari games here. Love that Enterprise right there. I love this game. It's so much fun. I'm one of those crazy people that likes the Atari 2600 versions of games better than the arcade. I really do. I think that this is funner and better looking than the Star Trek Vector arcade game with whatever, the lines, the rows of color. Down is photon torpedoes. So you can go but always go through your base so that you can get some refresh your stuff there. There we go. I love the clean, sharp font for the score. And this is the Vector one. This is a redo. Somebody redrew the graphics, and it was supposed to resemble the Vector game, but what it ended up doing is just making the graphics look more complex, and therefore it looks a lot better. I don't think it looks like the Vector game at all. It just looks much, much better. It's not just a blob of single color. It has some gaps, and that really, just that small amount of detail is enough to make it look much better. Look at the ships. The Klingon ships look so much better with the color gaps. I want to go through the base. There we go. You always want to go through the base no matter what. A lot of guys I've seen play this first time, they just run around and they blow up all of the Klingons. Like, oh, that's my job, is just run around, blow up all the Klingons. And then they don't touch the base. Touch the base every time. Always leave one Klingon and then touch the base. I didn't do it that way, guys. I did do it that time. That way you can repair your ship or whatever. You'll get more shield points and stuff. Now you can only use the base once. That's why I recommend shooting all except for one then going to the base. So there we go. How about that? All right, let's go ahead and try one more. And there we go. Okay, I figured that might happen because I haven't repaired the little connection yet. Let's see if that fixed it. Yeah, that fixed it. There's just a tiniest bit of a loose connection where the RF plugs in, and like I said, it's just going to be a light resolder. I don't think my big work is on here. My big work folder. So yeah, just this to test out games. So yeah, that's really all I have on here, other than the homebrew games from other users, and some of these are just redraws of popular games, like the Star Trek one. That was a user online redrew the graphics. So maybe, let's see here. I don't remember if... Well, here's Donkey Kong VCS. This is incredible. One of the best games made in 2017. Look at the color. This looks so good. Actually plays really, really good too. It has a feel very much like the arcade. The only difference is it's sectioned so that it's sectioned so that you're at the bottom portion of the construction site first, and then let's not do that again. There we go. And then you ascend. Easier to jump than in my game. I think this is the pie section, or well, actually, someone called this the pie factory section, but it's actually a concrete pouring section, I guess. That supposedly is, oops, concrete being poured into little containers. It's, I guess, it's not pie. It's actually, even though it does look like little pie. Why would there be a pie factory in the middle of a construction site? That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh. There we go. It's concrete. How high can you get? Well, you know, when I was a kid, I wondered that, honestly. You can get pretty high. And there you go. So he added the extra. Well, actually, this next one should be the rivet popping section. Yeah. All 4 sections. So how about that? The graphics are excellent. And with some creativity, this could have been what somebody released way back in the day if cost cutting wasn't so enormous to Atari. Atari was like, wait a minute, you want to do this in 4K? Oh, no, you have to do it in 2K. And stuff like that. And so, I don't know, maybe they thought like challenging the programmers was a great idea, but what it ended up doing was it ended up crippling their games. So some guy had to do all of this work in such a limited amount of space. So if you want to know why a lot of Atari games don't look that great, it's really not because the Atari couldn't do it. It's because the programmer had a very small amount of ROM space to work in. Wow, what a great game. Okay. Maybe one more, let's see. Now, what I was saying earlier is I wish that I had put the Sega Frogger on here. Maybe it is on here. Oops. Accidentally activated a game that I didn't intend on playing. Okay. So I guess if it is here, it would be in S. Now, one game I would love to remake. No, it's not here. Would be Burger Time. I want to do Burger Time using my own graphic style, so it has color. Because the Burger Time for 2600 is, widely considered the worst one. It has basically single color background, single color main character. Really terrible renditions of the little bad guys that chase you around. And I think that with some creativity and of course using a much larger ROM chip, we could have a thoroughly bodacious version of Burger Time. Now this is a 4-way controller version of 1942, 3 or whatever it was there. They redrew the score, but I still think this was done on Atari Basic. You can actually redraw the font used for the score, and that will throw off those snooty types who don't want to play a game just because it was programmed in Basic. Which, if you're that much of a butthole ball, and you stink that bad, then you go ahead and be snooty in your corner and miss out on some of the greatest games ever made for the 2600. But I love games programmed in BASIC. One of the best Burger Times for the Atari home computers was actually programmed in BASIC. And it plays great, looks great. It's all your technique. And those older systems were hard to get a great looking game in BASIC. It was very difficult. So yeah, kudos to whoever did this. This is pretty good. I would try to do a little bit more graphically. That's just me though. Some people just accept that on the 2600 everything is one color. It's this color or that color, and that there's little or no graphic details. I just realized no one's shooting at me either. I don't accept that. I have to have lots and lots of colors in all my games, and it messes with the hardware and stuff. So okay, that's cute. So today I fixed my heavy sixer and I'm going to put it back in its case. Alright, I'm heating up my soldering iron. Went ahead and ordered a new multimeter. I'm going to probably sell this other one, so if anyone wants an automatic multimeter that looks like a smartphone but also decides whenever it wants to change modes and possibly will destroy your shit, hey, there you go. It'll be perfect for you. Now I need a longer cord for this situation that I'm in here because it's doesn't work right. So last night we had an adventure. Raccoons are breaking into our attic through a hole in the roof that we got repaired, but it didn't work. They broke the repair. And so what's happened is a female raccoon was using it to hide from the male. Like the male usually won't come in there. The male doesn't come in there. It stays away. Maybe it's too big or what. But she sneaks down in through this hole. And I've read and heard around that, the females will actually use it to hide their babies. to take care of them, and then the males can't reach them. Well, I think the male got to the female last night because they were screaming up a storm. They were running around screaming and, you know, probably mating because the female was screaming her brains out. Well, the neighbors, one of the neighbors heard this raccoon screaming its brains out and called the police saying that they could hear a child crying out at the house next door. Our house. So we had the police here because of raccoons mating on our roof. Okay, so that was fun. Last night there was a hailstorm briefly. So my kids got woke up by raccoons screaming. Then they got woke up by a hailstorm. Then they got woke up by a raccoon breaking into the attic and running around in our storage room. And of course I got woke up by this stuff all night long. Lots of fun. And I get to wake up at 5 a.m. Wow, this is an ugly soldering job. Really, all it's got to do is make it so that this thing doesn't move. And I think that might have done it. I don't know. There we go. Alright, I'll turn it off briefly. Just see if this oh yeah, that's a lot more solid now. Both parts are. We got this on running a demo that I was working on. So next I'm going to throw it together and give the video out a test. Okay, so I've got this has got no rattle or sway to it. And we'll go ahead and take the camera off the mount here and look at the crystal clear picture. It's looking great. Okay, next up I just need to put the system back together and give it another test. There's no waviness to it now either, so it looks really, really good. I think that soldering might have helped us a tiny bit with that. This line here is going through, of course, the entire back of the, and this is what makes it a heavy sixer. If you look, these super thick plastic lines in this heavy bottom part, along with the metal from the inside, it's heavy. Yes, it is a kind of a heavy game system. I'm going to go ahead and attach the bottom. Okay, let's see if I can get that there. Okay. Pretty sure that's got that. this here to catch the cord so that it doesn't get yanked on. And this cord just pushes down in there like that. And then the system's little plug-ins go in there. You push that down there, and then your cord is plugged in. Now, I'm going to do one last test, just to make sure everything's good before I put the top back on. Alright, super clean picture. It's exactly what I wanted to see. Alright. So that's what that was the it was the CPU. And the CPU stinks when it's broken, because you know, have to get a new one. So that's there now. I don't have any of the magical orange paint with which to restore the front of this. As you can see, the leftover bit of the orange paint on there, but I'll be doing that now. Someone like painted near this within the past 40 years. It was before I ended up getting the thing. So it has tiny little specks on it. And eventually I'm going to get something to get all those specks off there and then completely repaint the orange part here to bring it back to its original luster. You know, people back then, they didn't care. So if they were, if they had an Atari near where they were working, then yeah, it might end up getting paint on it or salsa or whatever. And it wasn't a, no one was really trying to keep their Atari really super nice looking. You know, it was an item in the backdrop that was prone to get salsa or paint or fluids or whatever on it. So there we go, that's up against the top of it, and then we want to carefully bring this around. And you know, I wish I could remember which ones go where. What's great is I'm looking here and there's like one, oh, and I forgot something. See, thanks for reminding me, guys. I forgot one little thing here. I heard someone go, hey, you forgot. These little black foam discs that protect the top here. Now, see, that's circular. I think the circular ones are from, I've got one of them that's, I don't know, kind of taped together. That's not going back in. Okay, here we go. So we'll do, here we go. Okay, there we go. A nice soft black parts there. Now, okay, judging by this, it looks like those are kind of small. So hopefully it is the small ones that go in the front. And it's been a long time since I've done this. So this says 80 on it. I assume this came out in 1980. So let's go ahead and just zoom into the label here and give it a look. Manufactured by Atari Incorporated, Sunnyvale, California, model number CX2600, FCC type approval number TV383, valid only when operated pursuant to FCC rules, part 15. Blah 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 patents, and 312 1980. Okay, so this is a I think there's 2 screws in the bottom that are supposed to be put in after, for assembly. So I probably did that wrong too. All right. Like I said, it's been a while. It's been a while since I put one of these back together. All right. So we'll get under here. Okay, here we go. These two. So it's these 2 guys here actually go through the bottom of it. And so that'll go here. All right. Then it's going to be, flush. It'll be flush with the and actually I think this loops all the way around. Like so. Because you don't want it to get pulled on and then have it be displaced. So yeah, it goes something like this. All right, I'll put those joystick and power port there, and then that's in there nice and tight. Okay, and this has just a little room, but it will never be enough to pull on that. All right, 3rd time's a charm. Let's see if we can't maybe get this put back together. So the first 2 I'll put in will be maybe this one. I don't really think that reaches. I don't think it does. Okay. So, oh boy, would it be this one? And then it looks like it has the the little metal rings. But I thought those went to the larger ones. Oh goodness. Welcome to confusion. These might not even be all the screws, too. I really hope they are, but this was all sitting in a big pile waiting to be worked on for a little while. And so, yeah, let's zoom out. Now, for all intents and purposes, this will hold it together, but you want the, you definitely want the rest of the screws in there. Oh boy. So, I'm hoping that these will work. And there's definitely not, there's not all of them there. I'm missing some. And I don't know which ones are the super long ones, so let's see. Yeah, no, that's not the super long ones. I don't know if any of them are the super long ones. That's definitely in there. Okay. Okay, that's where the super long ones go, is in the front. So, all right. All right. Well, there's only one. So, that means upstairs somewhere there is a long screw I'll have to find it to complete this. There we go. Yes. Alright, and that means that these two smaller ones go here and here. Alright. Oh, let's get it in there first. Actually, I don't think that reached. This one reach? Yeah. Alright, so we got one left, one screw loose. We got at least one screw loose here. And the heavy sixer is together again. Okay. Awesome sauce. That's excellent. I've wanted this system to be running in for a while because, of course, I want to be able to test my games on that earlier palette that seems to look better, and need to be able to test it out. Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and show the picture now. Super clean still. Looking good. Alright. So I'll go ahead and go and find that last screw. I'm sure it's upstairs right near where I had this laying. And then my heavy sixer will be born again. Awesome. Awesome. I love the front of this. Really cool Atari label, woody pattern. The difficulty switches in the front actually is considerably better than the difficulty switches in the back. So it's preferable. I like the heavy, thick appearance here. So yeah. System saved.